Hello. Okay, so today we actually have a plan and we're actually going to stick to it, I hope. So the plan is simple. We are going to 1. Go back to the end. 2. Raid at least one end city. 3. Get an Elytra. And 4. Come back home safe. And hopefully we can do all that without anything going wrong. So first thing we're going to need is a solid food source and a lot of blocks, and yeah, that's pretty much it, to be honest. I think we're mostly kitted out with everything else that we would probably need. So with that all being said, now that we have everything we need, we should just go start heading over to the stronghold and so we can get to the end. I don't have the coordinates on me, but I'm sure that I can just kind of remember the general direction, and I should be able to find it decently easily. I remember it was like, like the kind of area, the terrain that it was anyway. So that should be pretty much enough. It shouldn't take too long. Yes, you saw that right. I have been walking for over an hour to get here. I took a couple wrong directions, overshot it, and so I guess that's what I get for not having the coordinates prepared. But either way, if I had, you see why I have to do this? If I had an Elytra, this would have taken like 4 minutes, tops. Probably a lot less. So anyway, now here we go. We can finally go back to the end. I thought this whole video would be like pretty much an hour, but no. Like, you just get in, you get to the end city, and it'll be all quick. But no, we've been here over an hour, and we haven't even entered the outer islands there. Luckily, it looks like the portal thingy isn't that far away. But before we get there, we probably should get a couple extra ender pearls just to be safe. Just because, you never know. Luckily with looting, it goes pretty quick. Looting is definitely one of my favorite enchantments that you just pretty much always have to. The first thing, once I get a sword, I guess like after sharpness probably, the number one thing that you want to get is looting. Also fire aspect. I don't have fire aspect on this sword, but I want to also get fire aspect. You also always want to get fire aspect. Those are like good enchantments that you get on the thing, and they're like good enchantments, and they're not just like the obvious unbreaking and mending, which yeah, technically those are probably the best enchantments, just because who wants to um keep repairing their tools, especially since we don't have like a huge XP farm. We kind of do. Like, we have the skeleton spawner, but it's not like a huge one, and it definitely takes a minute to get all the levels that you're gonna need. It definitely takes a while. So actually, mark that as another priority. Number one priority is definitely going to be marking out the location of the stronghold and the end portal room, and actually having some uniform transport there. Although it probably will be a lot easier. You probably won't need a full transport once you have an Elytra, because it'll be so quick. But we might as well mark it out and have a full location. And then number 2, we're also gonna get an XP farm. The best XP farm that I always use is going to be an Enderman farm, so that's what we're going to do. But speaking of priorities, now we just need to find that end city. Hopefully the first... Oh, there it is. That was quick. So hopefully this one has a ship. I don't see one, but maybe it's just, a bad angle. It is kind of far away. I'm definitely not going to be speed bridging on this one. Although, after we get an Elytra, I might try out doing a speed bridging over the void, because Right now we are not. We are definitely not doing that. Yeah, my bridging has gotten better over recent times, but it's not that good. There's definitely a possibility of me falling here. That's also why I have both ender pearls and a water bucket in the next 2 slots, because I do not. I really want to keep a very safe and secure approach, at least for the first time in the end. Once you have all your stuff in order, then you can kind of take it more casual because you're more familiar with everything and you have all the resources at your disposal. But right now, first time in, you're at your most vulnerable, so you got to keep agile, even if it's probably not necessary. You just be overly agile, keep overly aware, act defensively. But either way, even if this doesn't have a ship, we're still gonna definitely want to get, because we're gonna want a lot of shulker boxes as well. So we're probably gonna want to loot at one more end city if it's not too far away than just the first one anyway. But so hopefully we should be able to find one with a ship within the first couple tries, because I definitely don't want to be having to walk this whole thing, because I actually got, during my long travels to the stronghold, I managed to get a solid amount of gunpowder and sugarcane on the way, so we could also craft a couple rockets, just if we have an elytra and we want to get around quickly. Although I don't want to break it day one. I probably would want to wait until I put some enchantments on it. I think I actually already have enchanted books for unbreaking and mending for at least one elytra. But anyway, yeah, let's just raid this first end city. So it turns out there isn't a ship over here. I guess it was hidden behind the rest of the end city when I was walking in. So that's lucky. It looks like we're going to be able to get the Elytra quickly. So I was worried we were going to have to try and like run around for hours looking for like 10 different end cities before we got an end ship. But no, it looks like we're going to be good on the first try. We still probably might go to another end city just to get some more stuff, maybe a second Elytra, or maybe just like some more shulker boxes, or just check the loot, because usually the chests over here have pretty good stuff. It's probably the only structure that has like actually worthwhile end game level stuff. Like you can get, diamond armor and tools. It's usually, sometimes you'll get good enchantments, but sometimes you'll get, an actual good enchantment. Ooh, a spear. I usually probably wasn't gonna get a spear just because a lot of these, like the new weapons that they're introducing. I don't really see myself using it regularly. It seems kind of more of like a gimmicky type of weapon. Like I don't think I'm gonna use the spear on a day-to-day basis. I'm certainly not gonna like carry it in my hotbar or anything, but I mean, I got a spear, and I don't really know what enchantments are good on the spear, but it looks pretty good. I mean, was that sharpness, mending, and stuff? I can't imagine it'd be bad. I'm sure there's a couple more enchantments I could get. Lunge, I think I heard of that one. I think it makes you like boost farther, which that seems cool. I mean, if I'm going to have a good spear, I might as well max it out. And maybe it'll end up actually turning out to be a pretty useful weapon, I don't know. Alright, so we're at another end city now, and this one actually had an end ship too. I don't know how common end ships usually are for these, although in my previous experiences with end cities, I feel like maybe I've just gotten unlucky, but I feel like I've gotten like a lot of end cities that are just like the small one tower and then they don't have like anything else. So I don't know if like maybe I also feel like just the general density of end cities kind of like in the area that I spawned in here is probably like I don't know, it feels inflated. Although I feel like it's possible that my render distance, because like right now I'm like probably running at a higher performance than like previous iterations have been running at historically. Previous times I've been to the end. So maybe my render distance is just better suited to view uh where, better suited to view how far end cities generally are. But, it feels like I've been treated pretty well luck-wise in the end here. I don't know if that's, I don't know. I mean, I think that's compensation for the experience I had getting to here. But, yeah, look, it's a good thing. Although I guess it's a good thing that it took so long to get here because I was able to stock up on the gunpowder and the sugarcane. Which, I mean, I had gunpowder and sugarcane already, but I didn't prepare them, which I probably should have. But I was able to get enough so I could make enough rockets so that I could use the elytra. So I'll be able to get back home quickly, and then we can just enchant the elytra up. And once you get that, I mean, once you get mending, you really don't have to kind of care how much like you're using the durability, because even if I mean, we have an XP farm, and I'm gonna make a better XP farm. But even if you're not using XP farm, just like in existing and doing activities, you're going to be probably fighting mobs. Like, I'm pretty sure all my armor is pretty much at full durability, even though like I've been doing a bunch of stuff just because like you're just naturally fighting mobs, mining something that drops XP, or whatever. So I'm perfectly fine using up the elytra. I mean, I don't want to break it, obviously. Although I probably could get a phantom membrane and repair it pretty easily, probably. But I don't feel like putting up that much effort. Either way, at this point, eventually when you're looting these structures, eventually when your adventures are pretty much always at this point going to get cut off by probably not having storage, which is another major advantage, because now we're also going to have shulker boxes, which you don't really hype up getting shulker boxes as much as getting the elytra, which I mean which the elytra is probably going to be more useful, just like because you move so fast, it's so broken. But shulker boxes, I mean, there's so many times when like the storage, like pretty much any time that you're on this a long adventure, including in this raid in the end city, pretty much always you're gonna be running out of inventory space, and you're gonna be having a tough time trying to decide what you're gonna throw out, what you're gonna keep, and then trying to haul all that back, and then spend a long time trying to sort it out. I mean, I'm not even gonna try and get a big item sorter. Actually, that's probably not true. I'm probably gonna get a big item sorter at some point, but just it's not in the current plans. Just because I don't know how to do that. I'm not that redstone inclined. I have a little bit of redstone skill. I've made a piston door in my time, and if I watch a tutorial and experiment for about 4 hours, I might be able to make it a 3x3 piston door. you know. But that'd definitely be a project. That'd probably take about 6 episodes on its own, to be honest. But either way, just like I was saying, at this point, we're running out of room for stuff. I mean, so I think there was another end city pretty nearby, but at this point, we're going to start heading back to the overworld and just get back to the loot of our stuff. This is the same end ship from the first one, but couldn't hurt to double check. Yeah, but either way, we're gonna start heading back now, and we're gonna be able to check out the fruits of our labor, and then next episode, I don't know what we're gonna do. Actually, it's probably gonna be the Enderman farm. So probably we're gonna first thing we're gonna do is probably gonna be like, setting up a bunch of the stuff, like crafting the shulker boxes from the loot or whatever, and then we're going to probably make the Enderman farm. I mean, the Enderman farm, I don't know if it'll take a full episode. We might do some other stuff in it. I never really know what I'm gonna do up until I make the episode, because honestly I spent less time in the end. Like, I mean, in terms of the episode, I think I spent the majority of the time in the end, just because like I edited out most of the time spent traveling. But I'm pretty sure I spent more time walking to try and find the stronghold than I actually spent in the end. I keep harping on that point, but it really was like a grueling walk. I was really adventuring out there. I mean, I walked to like 5 different cherry blossom biomes trying to find the similar terrain, and every single time it just wasn't the same one. There was like so many times I just came back and I was in a bed from one of the times that I slept, because I also found like multiple villages along the way. I really can't stress this enough. I spent a long time, but just look how quick it's going to be coming back. Like, imagine trying to walk this. You can't, you can just fly over everything. Like, trying to get, you'd probably have to like climb around stuff rather than going over it or through it, just because it takes so long. So yeah, I cannot express enough how happy I am that I got this elytra. It's gonna save so much time. Honestly, I probably should have fought the Ender Dragon like 3 or 4 episodes before this. I don't know why I was dragging it out. I had a bunch of these projects that I wanted to do. I mean, I did something. I mean, looking back on it, like I kind of lollygagged. If we're being, what is that? There's another use of the elytra. You get to see from these angles all the weird stuff that you would have missed, because there's no way you could be able to tell that from the ground. Apparently I missed that block. There we go. But yeah, either way, I'm gonna spend a while probably putting away all the end stuff, and then I think that'll pretty much do it for today. We accomplished a lot of important stuff, and this is really going to help us in future episodes. I think we're going to start seeing some bigger projects. I mean, don't get your expectations too high, but I think we're going to start seeing some acceleration now that we have officially entered the end game, pun intended.